Hi, I'm Mandy Cat Mushroom, and today I'll be painting a lovely dune scene. Today I'm in Florence, Oregon, and I'm hanging out in my friend's backyard. Isn't it beautiful? Backed up by this beautiful shore pine forest. Okay, today, so I have pretty simple palette. I'm just doing a little bit of paint today. I have cadmium yellow, alizarin crimson, midnight black, Van Dyke brown, Prussian blue. Those are actually switched. Uh, phthalo blue, and sap green, and then titanium white, of course. So let's get started. I'm going to start with some cadmium yellow. And just put this was the same brush I put the liquid white on. Why not? I'm just going to grab that cadmium there. So we're just going to do just like a simple. You know what? I didn't grab sand colored paint. I might have to go dig in here in a second, but we're just going to add some cadmium yellow here. And then we're just going to go right in. Let's get our background, and I don't need the sand color quite yet. Let's get some alizarin crimson. And we're just going to go right on top. And so I thought I would do a bit of a sunset scene today. We've been having some very red sunsets the last couple of nights here on the Oregon coast, and I just want to celebrate that. Do you know what causes a sunset? Because during the day, you know, our sky looks blue. Have you ever wondered what that is? And so basically, during the day when we see the sky and it's blue, it's because our atmosphere filters out the different wavelengths. And so we see, basically, think of our atmosphere as like a lens. And as the sun moves over that lens through the day, it's pretty much like kind of like the same width as it's moving through. However, when it gets to, I'm going to grab some Prussian blue, or excuse me, this is phthalo blue. And as the sun moves down in our sky, basically it grabs more, it filters the thickness of our atmosphere changes. And so as the wavelengths change through the lens, which is like our atmosphere, it makes like Newton, if you see like a Newton's law or Newton's lens, where it makes a rainbow, which is so cool. I love rainbows. And I always try to incorporate rainbows everywhere I can. We're going for some Prussian blue, which is quite a bit darker than the phthalo. And so I'm just using the same old dirty brush. It doesn't matter. So as the sun sets down the horizon, it makes our atmosphere into a lens. And so we see the different wavelengths passing through our atmosphere. And I'm just going to take this Prussian blue all the way up to the top here. And so we see that gradient as the sun sets, and then it just gets more and more red because the wavelengths are getting shorter and shorter until they finally disappear onto the other side of the earth. And then it'll rise again the next day, which is cool. I really captured a really beautiful sunset last night when I went to go visit the ocean. I'm going to play my ukulele for the ocean. It was so windy. Oh my gosh. The sand was pelting me in the eyes. I was like, oh my gosh, it hurt. Yeah, I really love the beaches here in the Central Coast. So now I'm grabbing some black, and I'm going to work that up here in the corners, and I'm going to start bringing this dark color down And so, yeah, I was walking on the beach, which I love. I try to get down to the beach as often as I can. We have really nice public beaches here in Oregon, and I've found quite a few places where you can find good public parking without a pass, and so that's always nice. But yeah, you want to make sure you always have your passes. I think here in Florence we need 3 different passes to be able to park here in town. It seems it's state, county, and federal with the Forest Service. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to just wash my brush here, but until then, I'll just put it in the what. I'm going to use this other brush and start blending. I want this yellow color to be more brilliant, so I'm going to grab a little more yellow here. I probably should have got some Indian yellow, but that's okay. All right, so I'll have this yellow here. And then I'm just going to start blending this red down. But I want to be very careful that I don't, once I go up, I don't come back down. Otherwise, I'll have a mess on my hands. Okay, so I kind of want to bring a little bit of this red down into the yellow to kind of make it more orangey. There we go. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now we'll just start blending. When's the last time you went and watched the sunset? You know, just really sit with it. It's so pleasant. I don't do it nearly enough. I like to think I do, but I really need to get out there more. And then watching the sunset on the beach, oh my goodness, that is so nice. All right. Then we're just going to work. Get those brush strokes out. Okay. Kind of want to add a little bit more black. I want it kind of darker. I really want it to be a sunset scene. And yeah, I'm going to just make it a little darker on top. Or throw some little stars. Just take a second. We can just throw stars in just for a second. Like I said, if it's, well, I said a little bit earlier, if you're not making it epic, why bother? The people always ask me, where did you buy your hat? I made it. Okay, I'm just going to blend this midnight black down a little bit. Oh no, it's okay. Got a little bit of black there. I'm just going to work it in. It's all right. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Oh, see, there you go. That's okay. All right, let's put that brush in there. And let's see. I'm going to grab another little blendy brush here. That's okay. That's okay. Oh, yeah. I'm a lot happier with that. Okay. And let's see. I want to get these brush strokes out. And all right. We're going to deem that good enough. Yes, we love that. And now I need to find some sand color. All right. Oh, I betcha this raw sienna will do it. I betcha. And, you know, have a little bit of Van Dyke brown there. And I'm feeling a little yellow ochre. Feeling a little yellow ochre here. That's going to be good too. I betcha. Okay, I'm going to throw that over here. I should have thrown that in my sunset a little bit. That's okay. It'll be a good contrast for it to be in the sand. All right. Put some sand color. Oh, I can just move on here. Now, we're mimicking an oceanscape. And let's see. We got the horizon here. Oh, I talked about stars. I was doing our stars. Let's get some stars going before I put anything else in. That makes sense. Okay, so let's grab a fan brush. This was number 6, and it's a little softer than the 3. The 3 is kind of shorter and more stubbly. This one's really good for small trees, and this one's good for bigger trees. I love it. Okay, so let's see here. I'm going to grab some liquid white. I'm just going to put it in the lid here, like I do. And I need to thin it down just a little bit so I can sprinkle it on, get it nice and thin. I don't get big globs on my canvas. Just kind of want to mimic a little bit of a galaxy just real quick. All right, I'm going to stick my finger and just put some stars in up here. And that's it. Hopefully you can see those. And I'm just going to throw that in there. Now I can close up my liquid white. I don't want to forget. Sometimes I put it back and I don't want it to spill. Okie dokie. I'm going to actually clean that fan brush. Wipe it out. And then, okay, this one's not too bad. All right. And then just beat the devil out of it. Okay, let's see here. Okay, where were we? We are making the dunes. Okay, so the dunes have changed over the years, which has been concerning. This is why I'm painting these. So let's back up. So the Central Oregon coast dunes, they live along the Oregon coast. It's 54 miles long. It starts up in Florence and it goes south, clear down to Coos Bay, essentially. And I'm just going to grab some Van Dyke brown here on the fan brush. And so, and actually some sap green. We're just going to mix them here on the brush. Everything's fine. And so the dunes run 54 miles down the coast, and they used to be just dunes. They're about 3 miles wide in many regards, many areas. And then when settlers came, they started coming in the 1700s, and then with Teddy Roosevelt, he opened up the Scioto National Forest to be claimed by the pioneers. And it was difficult for people who just homesteaded here to find land here because it was on the dunes. So they either gave up or they wanted to stabilize the dunes so they could build on it. And so in order to build on it, they introduced European beach grass. There's beach grass, native beach grass here. There's fescue grass, which is, helps stabilizes the dunes. It's native, but it's, the dunes are alive. They move freely. The sand blows around, and they're unpredictable. They move across 101 occasionally, and they're a nuisance because they do what they want. They weren't meant to be tamed. They were here before us, but we changed the ecosystem, and so we started planting European beach grass and other species like Scotch broom along the dunes, and in efforts to stabilize the dunes so we could start building on them. And it worked. The European beach grass took over. It grows great here. The roots go very deep, and now we're facing there's too much forest. We're losing the dunes. Especially, we've noticed, like even since the 70s, the patches of grass or patches of dunes are just erased. We used to have beautiful micro like ecosystems. Like there'd be like mostly dunes, and then like down in the valley there'd be some forests or these different little ecosystems. And there's so many different, just cool like wildlife and plants that grow here, like specifically just in the dunes, nowhere else in the world. And they rely on the dunes. But since we planted the grasses and all these other invasive species, they have taken away like the homes of the like western snowy plover, who the western plover or the snowy plover, they make their nests directly on the sand. And when they do that, if you're walking on the beach, like we have to share the beach. And so now, like thankfully, with conservation efforts, we have made it so the snowy plover are like they're protected now, which is great. And there's signs saying like don't hike on the beach like between these months because this is like a known breeding ground for the snowy plover, and that's fantastic. And we need to keep going. And so right now we're trying to restore the dunes back, remove all of the beach grass that we planted, that we have been planting over, and we really started like in the early 1800s, and then just continued like in the early 1900s. We like aggressively started planting, and it's doing great. It's doing very well, and I believe that practice continued on until I think into the 70s, even like the 50s is when it was still going on pretty strong then. And so the dunes need our help. We gotta clean it up. All right. So this is a forest line. I just painted in a forest line because we planted all of the beach grass, and then it's now creating forests in our dunes. So I just put in the forest background there, which is a really common scene here now. What would have been dunes is now forest. And so I'm going to paint in a little bit of dunes. So this is what we're doing here. All right. Now I'm gonna, I'll try to cut. Just gonna kind of mimic kind of like a dune shape. And what's great about painting the dunes, I realized the dunes change, not just daily, but hour by hour sometimes. You can pretty much watch a dune move. If it's a really windy day, you can just watch it kind of, it'll change. Oh yeah. So it's all there. Okay. Let's pick up some of this. Okay, so we got some yellow ochre here. I'm just gonna paint that in here. Oops, probably shouldn't have done that, but that's okay. We're just gonna, it's okay. Okay, we're gonna smooth this out. Yeah, everything's fine. Okay. Now I'm gonna knock off that paint there. Now let's get a little bit more yellow ochre here. We're just gonna put in, just mimic kind of a sand dune here. All right. So the dunes are made up of mostly quartz, and how they form here on the Oregon coast is that so we're north of the Juan de Fuca Fault, which is a huge fault that lines basically the side of California. That's why they have so many earthquakes. We have the Cascadia Fault on our side, and so it's another subduction zone, just like the Juan de Fuca, and it's but out in the Pacific. And Cascadia, so you guessed it, subduction zone. It goes up underneath basically all of the Willamette Valley, and it pushes back up into the Cascades. And that's how the Cascade Mountains are formed, is from the plate drifting over and then pushing up and then creating volcanoes. And so you've probably seen all my other episodes about Crater Lake, or I'm just going to go ahead and bring this color down since it's pretty much going to be all sand colored anyway. I don't want to waste it on the brush. Plus, I want to bring some lighter color up. So here we go. So as the plate is moving under here, then the cascades are building up and exploding over there. And so as those mountains are forming and exploding and changing, all that debris now is being washed down from the rivers. And at the mouth of the rivers, they are deposited, and with the ocean constantly churning, because as the moon, goes around the Earth, it's tidally locked, and so the gravity pulls the water around the Earth, which it's kind of like eye shaped, and so it's always stronger on the moon side, but it kind of mimic it. It's like eye shaped on the other side, so that's where you get the other high tide, but it's not quite as high as the highest tide, because the high tide always matches the moon as it moves over the Earth, if you've ever noticed. It's anyway, we're very conscious of when the tide is when you live in Florence, that's for sure. Okay, so I'm just moving that up a little bit. Okay, I'm a lot happier with this now. Great. So let's see, bringing that down. Okay, so that subduction zone's been pretty active for over 45 million years. So yeah, the sand just keeps forming over and over again. All right, so let's see. Let's mill over here. And that bird, or that sienna, let's grab a little bit of that. And so I'm just going to start mimicking in some just kind of different valleys, because as the sands come in, they just blow in. And how that kind of is mimicking the sand there. Okay. I'm going to grab a little bit of Van Dyke Brown, try to darken this up a little bit. It always seems to, our eye, as it gets hazy out in perspective, and so it's always a little lighter and not so detailed in the background, and then as images move up into the foreground, it becomes more and more focused, and so you don't want to do a lot of detail work back here, because you want to draw the eye forward, if you will. All right, so let's see, got that there. And just gonna make some different dune shapes here. Okay, I think that's a good start. So I want to pepper in some of these plants, these native plants we were talking about. So let's see here. I'm going to grab my liner brush, and I'm going to get it wet with some mineral spirits here. That's what I use to wash my brushes. I also use it to thin down my paints. You want to be careful with that. It does make your paint a little bit dull looking in the finished product. Not too bad if you only use a little bit. And it's very detrimental if you use things like liquid clear. Okay, so let's put in a little bit of grasses here. Got some white spots, so I'm just gonna cover those up. Okay, now let's see, trying to draw this out. I'm just gonna paint some little grasses, kind of just going here. And then also, maybe do little trees, do some like little kind of closer trees. Here, got some of this. Well, let's do actually some little green bits. And so there's lots of different grasses that grow. Fescue grass is what we want to see growing. And it has a beautiful green on it. The European beach grass is pokey, it hurts, yeah. It's very aggressive. You don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, why? Ooh, this is working. Oh yeah, we like this. Okay. I didn't like that stark there. So we'll add some grass line here. Oh yeah. We're always improving, aren't we? We're always improving our technique. Okay. Actually do that. Okay. We love that. Oh yeah. Okay. So we're getting that. Dips and valleys. Okay, let's put this fan brush away. I'm gonna grab, let's get a little bit darker here. So this and this. And it's really beautiful the way you see kind of want to see the lines of where the wind makes the different channels. It's just so beautiful. All right, let's try to get something a little bit more exaggerated there. There we go. There we go. Oh, let's just do that. Great, we love that. And okay, so yeah, the stripes we kind of like. We want to see those waves. Now let's grab. We love the dunes. We love the dunes. There's something a little crazy. So I was thinking, since we love the dunes so much, let's kind of play on that whole heart motif. You know, so I'm going to take my knife here. I'm just going to scratch in just some little doodads here and there, just to kind of give some variation of the different textures and areas that live within the dunes. There's some pink and yellow verbena that also love to grow in the dunes. I'm gonna add a little bit of that too. That sounds fun. So for a little pink, let's see. I'm gonna thin down my brush again. I'm gonna grab some titanium white. There's a reason why I put that on my palette. So I'll kind of water that down, and I'm just gonna pick up just a little bit of the alizarin crimson. I'm just gonna make a nice thin paint. Just kind of, so the verbena kind of just peppers through the valleys here. This doesn't really grow anywhere else in, look at it, it just grows in the dunes. It's very, and when it blooms in the spring, it fills the whole dune up with beautiful pink flowers. I just think that's really special. And I mean, why does it grow just in the sand? It doesn't really grow anywhere else. And that just makes the dune so special, you know? So let's put some of those in there like that. Great. And we'll just wash the brush. Okay. As far as this grass is, okay, let's see here. Let's grab some of this yellow ochre. I'm gonna grab some titanium white too. I want this to really stick out on the front here. So let's add some grasses. Just make them a little bit closer here. A little flick of the wrist, and the wind's it's going this way. You're at the beach. You always want to know where's the wind heading? It's east. The wind is always hidden. It's always heading east, you know. Kind of. It's always funny. It's hot in the valley. It really, even though it's beautiful here, the wind will just pull all of our cold air off the ocean, Pacific Ocean here, and pulls it all in east. And so the hotter it's in the valley, the windier it is here. And so many times I remember living in Eugene as a kid, and we would go to the beach because it was just stinking hot. And we'd get to the beach just wearing like bikinis because it was like 100 degrees. And the beach was freezing. Sure, blue sky, gorgeous, but very, very chilly for sure. Okay. Here's some grasses. They kind of have these like really pretty kind of kernels on top. So I'm going to try to mimic that here. I'm just slanting my brush. Just making some grasses with many kind of kernels. Different kernels? Is that right? Seeds? Grass seed? I mean, it's grass seed, right? Oh, actually, quite long. Mini. Okay, let's just. It kind of comes to a point, yeah. So we'll do that. Let's see. We'll do another one here. And make it match. So it's interesting, actually. Different fun fact. Grass seed. So like Albany, north of Eugene, about an hour, is the grass seed capital of the world. And that is why the allergies are so bad in Eugene area. That's why it's the highest pollen count in the world, because the way the mountains form, all that grass seed, as the wind blows south, gets concentrated in the Eugene area. And it's all grass pollen. I think that's interesting. All right, it's going to make another kind of another grass seed there. Fantastic. And one more. One more. Why not? Let's do one more. Great. Grab that. And oh, geez. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite thing to do at the beach? Have you been to the dunes before? If you haven't, I would highly recommend coming out and visiting, coming to say hi. There's lots of activities you can do on the beach. Oh, mushrooms. Oh my goodness, mushrooms. Yes, there are mushrooms that grow specifically on the beach or in the sand dunes as well. There's also a bunch of different varieties of mushrooms that grow between the beach grass and the dune. And so those grow specifically Uh, you may know what those are already. Okay, so we got some beach grass. That's a fescue grass, the good kind. Didn't do any Scotch broom. Hey, Scotch broom. We're taking it out. Help join us. We are volunteering monthly up and down the coast. We are trying to undo what our ancestors did. And if you haven't volunteered out, it's pretty fun. I recommend it. It's a good time. I got to chop down a tree, which was interesting. I very much saved the trees, but we have to save the dunes, so we have to cut down the trees in order to save the dunes up to a certain size. I mean, we wouldn't I didn't chop down one of these huge trees, but it was, lodgepole pine. They get pretty tall and they're still skinny. Okay, I just have some of this. Okay, so with the lodgepole pine, let's do a big bravery test here. Let's go here. Okay. And the lodgepole pines are actually more brown than green, but decisions were made. Actually, I'm gonna grab a different fan brush. Let's see. Let's grab some brown. Yeah. And we'll just do this over again. That's okay. The lodgepole pines are supposed to be pretty straight. We're shore pines. That's how they got their name, was lodgepole pine, is because how straight they grew. The Native Americans would use them for their housing, the teepees. It was they'd use them for how straight and narrow and tall they get. They grow pretty fast. It's quite beautiful. You see how tall they are and skinny. Okay, so that's here. Let's put another tree in. Why not? Why not? Okay, let's grab some more of this brown. And we'll put you. We'll do a shorter one here. Great, we love that. I'm so used to doing my Doug firs that I'm not making these very straight. That's okay. I'll do a little of that. Great. Okay. Now let's put some branches on these guys. We did two at once. Now the branches, they kind of go out and then kind of down. And so let's see here. The needles on the lodgepole pine are about between 1 and 3 inches in length. They have pretty small, distinct, round cones. The bark on them pretty light and flaky. So those are other key identifiers for the old lodgepole pine. But they kind of have these cute branches that they kind of hang down and then they kind of go up. Not all the time, but sometimes they do. Let's see, let's get a little black in here. So we're just kind of mimicking those branches coming down like that. Let's see, like that. Cool. And let's put a branch over here, I suppose. Oh, making palm trees. That's okay. We're just going to do that. There's no mistakes, only happy accidents. Let's actually just kind of fluff that up like that. Everything's fine. We'll put some green on top. Oh, well, whatever. just gonna use this other brush here. We'll put some green bits on top, and that's just gonna mimic the pine needles there. Okay, great. Which I kind of want to do a little bit more, but that's okay. Just stop there. Okay. Now we'll grab this. And I'll kind of make this more bushy. And so the lodgepole pines, kind of fluffy. They have the, the branches go up. And we're just gonna add some nice foliage there. Add a few more branches here. And probably call that good. On that one, now let's see. I think I want to add a couple more little branches just kind of hanging off this guy. And, these logical, they kind of have funny, funny branches. It seems like they break quite easily too. They can be pretty brittle. Put a few more little nips and bobs here. I actually want to take my palette knife, kind of rough it up and just give it some like bark texture. I think that would look kind of cool. A little bit of white, just kind of, because the bark's kind of flaky. As I'm looking at this example here, kind of just want to make it like there we go. And we're just gonna make it's more barky, as you do. Sometimes you just have to improvise, and yeah, we like that. Okay, I think this tree also needs a little bit of barky bits showing. That's fine. We'll give you some barky bits. We love that. Well, I'm just going to call that a finished painting. Whoa, no, I need to sign it. We're going to sign it really fast. Oh my gosh, we got the 45-minute mark. Okay, great. We love that. Okay, let's see. Let's grab my old liner brush. Do a little bit of this. What should I? What color should I sign it in? I never know. Pink. Okay. We'll do this. A little bit of pink. And well, I would like to thank everyone for making this possible. Let's see. Let's start with the Siuslaw Watershed Council for making this possible. Siuslaw Watershed Council. And then I would also like to thank the Oregon Dunes Restorative Collaborative. And I'd like to thank the organizers for Juneteenth for having me. I would like to thank my friends Robbie and Jamie for loaning me their sound equipment. I would like to thank my friends here for loaning me their backyard. And I am so excited to present these dunes. Now I know which colors to use for tomorrow. And I just wanted to show you my space book that talks about sunsets and how light waves work and other fun science facts and how to identify mushrooms. This is available on Amazon right now. And yeah, here it is. Well, thank you so much. I'm Andy Cat Mushroom, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Oregon Dunes. And please consider donating to restoring the dunes, or donate your time and just share the love. And thank you for caring, and stay curious. Thank you. Much love.